Well, there are options. There are plenty of options when it comes to punter right now. The best guy that they have worked out could be potentially signed by the Philadelphia Eagles. We are days away from the NFL regular season at 425, New England Patriots at Gillette Stadium, and can't wait for that. But definitely, I think we have our answer at safety now, and then really going into everything else, another practice squad signing that could be somewhat a legitimate player for us later on. So, lot to go over here. Let's get straight into it.
You better do. Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
Yo, I hope everyone's enjoying their weekend. And yes, we are days away till the regular season starts. And I hope you guys have enjoyed, coming on this channel and enjoying this ride of the off season, because it's a long off season, when you're covering it every single day. But once we get to that point where the season's about to start, we're excited, we're ready to go, and nothing but regular season games. It's always just a breath of fresh air to do something new and to get into something that actually counts for once. But I want to go over a few things here. One is really the punter situation, okay? Aaron Sipos is still on the practice squad, okay? It looks like they're not going to be signing Braden Maine. They never brought him in, the Steelers punter or the backup Steelers punter as of right now. The one they worked out, probably the best guy they've worked out so far, is Pat O'Donnell from the Green Bay Packers. Now, Donald was never made into a Pro Bowl or an All-Pro team in his career by being a quality starter. His 2,313 punt yards last season ranked number 28 in the league, and Sipos was ranked 30. So, not much there. Ranked-wise, I mean, this is, I don't know where you get valued punters. I mean, it's really just one of those, like, you pick and choose. You see who's on a practice squad. You see who's available free agency-wise. And, you never know what you can find out there. But Pat O'Donnell's ranked 28th. Sipos ranked 30th. 46% of his punts were down inside the 20-yard line, which, isn't bad. It was actually the highest point of his career punting inside the 20 last year. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, anything but Sipos. I mean, they're obviously looking for a new punter. We kind of already know this, because why would he be on practice squad? Why would Aaron Sipos be on the practice squad still? And you're still looking for guys. You worked out like 4 or 5 punters. I mean, you're desperate right now. So, we don't even know who our return guys are yet. I know Devin Allen and Britton Covey are back, but punter is definitely another one that's just, this is a big one. I'd rather have, Like, I think it's more important to have a punter than return guys, just because the punter puts the ball where it's going to start out for the other team. That's where it's dangerous. And Aaron Sipos, I think, is running out of time. I don't think they're going to keep him. I really don't. I mean, Pat O'Donnell's not even better. I think he's better of the group that he's in right now, free agency-wise, that the Eagles worked out. But, if he can get that ball inside the 20-yard line 46% or more than that this season, I'm perfectly fine with it. You know what I mean? I just think we need a change. We knew that Aaron Sipos, he had a mental break after that Super Bowl, because, it was, you don't pump middle of the field on your short end of the field and, give these guys more yards. And it's just, I know there's a lot more that went to that Super Bowl than just a one punt that happened, but there was a couple punts that were horrible from the 2 punters the Eagles had last year, that guy from the Titans that we had. And obviously Aaron Sipos has just been, I don't think Sipos has really earned his job ever. He was signed, at the end of 21 or after the 21 season, he was signed immediately, and he never really had competition. Never really, and I don't know why the Eagles. Here's another thing with Michael Clay. Why didn't they bring in a punter? I mean, I know Zentner was here, and if they knew he wasn't the guy, or they knew Zentner wasn't going to be the guy. After a couple games, they probably were like, eh. But why didn't they release him, bring somebody else? You know what I mean? Why didn't they just keep moving guys around, bringing more guys in when we still had joint practices, when we still had training camp practices at the time, and these preseason games? They could have just kept switching and kept bringing guys in every single, couple weeks, during training camp, if they figured that one guy wasn't going to be enough, or 2 of them were going to be enough in Zentner and Aaron Sipos. So I know Pat O'Donnell seems like is the promising factor here. So I'd take a shot. I don't see why not. Give it a chance. But that's really the news on Pat O'Donnell and likely him signing. We'll see. Eagles did sign someone to the practice squad, ex-Giants, Tyree Phillips, that plays guard and tackle. And, whatever Jeff Stoutland wants, he gets. Okay. Another player that could play multiple positions for the Eagles, and obviously is on the practice squad, will be a little of a project, see what he could do. And he has started in games before. He has been a starter before, and to see what he could do. You know what I mean? Your trenches, man. You have the best offensive line coach in the league right now. I mean, literally. What he's been turning these players into, I think one of the youngest offensive lines, besides obviously Kelsey and and Lane Johnson, and then you have Cam Jurgens starting at right guard most likely. Even tylersteen has become somewhat, really good. I think has really stouted, that right side as a backup, left tackle, right tackle / physicality, can play right guard if need be. So it's an awesome thing because every offensive lineman in Jeff Stoutland's offensive line room could play. If you're not a pure starter, you have to know more than one position. You have to know two positions. That's his rule going into the offensive line room if you're with the Philadelphia Eagles in his room. So just another guy to kind of bring along for another year, see what he could do, and maybe they could turn him into something. Sometimes coaching, look what we did to Brandon Brooks. Brandon Brooks was nothing with the Texans, and we brought him here, and look what we turned him into. You know what I mean? Obviously, he was very injury prone, but, turned to a Pro Bowler under Jeff Stoutland. This guy turns, when he sees flashes of talent in certain offensive linemen, he brings the most out of them. Obviously, one of them was Andre Dillard, which I couldn't blame him too much on that, just because God knows if that was even his pick. God knows if they had Jason Peters in that year. They redshirted a first-round pick. You don't redshirt a first-round pick within his first year, and I think the Eagles kind of ruined Andre Dillard. That's just my opinion. But offensive linemen are just coming in, which is great. So can't complain about that. And lastly, with the safeties as of right now, it seems like Sidney Jones is going to be the favorite to start. I mean, from what I've seen, even for training camp so far, even right now, a week and a half before a football game, has been starting at the safety role. Really confused me when we got into that season, that preseason finale against the Colts, and literally everybody played. Usually if you see someone that sits out, and I understand that Sidney Brown needs more work, that these guys should get more reps. You want to make sure these guys don't get hurt either, but between Kavon Wallace, that used to be here, is not here anymore, having Sidney Brown, Justin Evans, everybody played. Every safety played in that finale game. So really it was just giving these guys more work. And Sidney Brown looking like to be the favorite, always around the football, making tackles. And, I've already said this, that he's going to be a starter sooner or later. Said this even during the beginning of training camp. And if he really had to climb himself up that ladder. I mean, and made it. So it's really nice to see drafting guys and they just make the team, and not even just drafted guys, but undrafted guys, your free agents, Zach Cunningham. I mean, just stuff like that. It makes me really happy to see that when they draft somebody, it's not a wasted pick. In my opinion, when you draft guys, your first, second, and your third round pick should always be on the field. Should always. Your third to fifth rounders should be role players. Your third should really be on the field, could play special teams, and should be playing, obviously being somewhat of a starter if they can. And then you really find those sixth, seventh rounds gems, guys that are, that had success in the college, and, usually you find those real hungry dogs in the sixth, seventh round. And I think that's what you found in a lot of players. The last 3 years have been amazing what they've found so far. The youth movement is real, and Sidney Brown is moving up that depth chart, and I think is already going to be at that starting safety role, most likely. Reed Blankenship is obviously kind of capped that spot. Okay, didn't play in the preseason finale, has really turned himself into something special. And thank God. You know what I mean? So there's always hope at safety. I don't think that we're bad at this position. I just think we just been looking for that guy. Sometimes we kind of sit there and we're like, they might be making a move for safety. There was rumors like weeks ago that they were going to make a move. You get like a type of a Chauncey type trade that they made last year late in the season. I don't know if they make a move at safety now. I really don't. I think they've just been working their practice squad a little bit. I think there's still one move looming before the season starts. I don't know what it's going to be because it could, linebacker. They only kept 3 linebackers, but we have to remember that Nolan Smith and some of these other guys are going to be playing off the ball linebacker. That goes into the plans of why they only kept 3 because they're going to be using more of these defensive ends into coverage as well and used in that spot. So we have to put that into effect as well. But Sidney Brown has looked very, very well. And hopefully, it looks promising. It looks very, very promising. It looks 90 to 95% promising. He will start the first game and just see how he does. You know what I mean? And Sean Desai is the final piece to the whole puzzle of this whole entire defense. He really is because, he didn't have first string, second string, third string starters. He went through this training camp, and I really like Sean Desai because he really values competition. He gives everybody a fair shot. He doesn't play favorites. You know what I mean? Like he does not. He never plays favorites, and I want to see how creative he gets to get pressure on quarterbacks. You know what I mean? I love when they use obviously with Sidney Brown as athletic as he is, can cover an area of field around very quickly with his feet, very elusive. You know what I mean? Can get his hands on the football, always around the football, can make tackles. So I think this is a Red Star recruit. This was a guy that exemplifies himself and what it means to play in his position and being a Philadelphia Eagle and being a leader and being somewhat of a jolt of energy for this defensive back room. You kept 7 defensive backs this year. You know what I mean? You kept 7 corners this year, which is kind of nuts. You know what I mean? You have a lot of unproven to want to prove it very badly type guys on this roster right now. And I think when it comes to Sidney Brown, he excels at his work study, tape study of opponents and just he's got that work ethic, and that's all that matters at the end of the day. So that's what it's looking at right now. So other than that, that's pretty much it. Talked about Sidney Brown. Talked about the new signing to the practice squad on Tyree Phillips. I think is a good prospect for the future. Pat O'Donnell, probably the best punter we brought in so far. So, little bit of tweaks we got to make. I feel like, they're going to make some switches to the practice squad, maybe the active roster, hopefully see what these return specialists are going to be between kick return and punt return. Would be nice. I mean, I would love Devin Allen to be a kick returner, and I would love, and obviously Britton Covey has done a good job, but I would like to see some other guys kind of compete for that spot, which they haven't done really. They're putting most of the guys that they put in both of those spots are either injured or not on this roster anymore. Unless they like Justin Evans for special teams and stuff like that. Even Sidney Brown, put him on special teams as a gunner or something because he could, he wants to fly and make a tackle. You could always do that as well. So let me know what you guys think. We're getting close to the season. We're getting ready to go. If you lasted this long, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you like the video as well. I do apologize. Had no videos the other day, but I wanted to make up for a couple videos today. Just was a very, very busy day the other day. You guys enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Chicks it up, follow, so peace out, guys. Peace.